The unexpected guests. It was just another quiet night for Ryan. He had spent the evening watching TV and scrolling through his phone before finally drifting off to sleep. The soft hum of his fan was the only sound in the room, and the gentle glow of the moon peeked through his curtains. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Until it all changed. Ryan stirred in his sleep, feeling an odd presence in the room. His instincts kicked in, and he sat up abruptly. His eyes darted around, and that's when he saw them. Two figures stood at the foot of his bed. The taller one was slim and covered in smooth dark scales that shimmered faintly under the moonlight. It had glowing yellow eyes, slit like a cat's. The shorter one was round and furry, like a walking teddy bear, with 4 arms and 2 large, curious eyes that blinked rapidly. Both of them were staring directly at him. Ryan froze. His brain couldn't process what he was seeing. Were they burglars in weird costumes? Was he dreaming? He pinched himself hard. Nope, this was real. Ho, what are you? Ryan stammered, his voice cracking. The taller one stepped forward, its long tail swishing behind it. We are your new roommates, it said in perfect, emotionless English. Its voice was deep and resonant, like a distant echo. Roommates, Ryan repeated, his voice rising in pitch. What are you talking about? I live alone. The shorter one climbed onto the edge of the bed, tilting its head. Not anymore. Galactic regulations require us to stay with a human host while we complete our assignment. Its voice was high-pitched and oddly cheerful. Ryan blinked, his heart pounding. Galactic regulations, host. This had to be some kind of elaborate prank. Okay, I don't know who you guys are or how you got in here, but this is my house. You need to leave. The furry alien gave a wide grin, revealing rows of sharp teeth that made Ryan flinch. Oh, we're not going anywhere. The Intergalactic Treaty of Coexistence binds us to you. The what now? Ryan's mind was spinning. Treaties. Coexistence. This wasn't just strange. It was insane. The tall alien raised a clawed hand and produced a glowing device from thin air. A holographic document appeared, written in a language Ryan couldn't read. At the bottom, there was an official-looking stamp with Earth's insignia. This agreement, it said, pointing to the document, was signed by your leaders 50 Earth years ago. As part of this treaty, we are allowed temporary residence with humans. Ryan stared at the floating hologram, his confusion morphing into anger. 50 years ago. That's not my problem. I didn't sign anything. The furry alien tilted its head again. But you are human, yes, so you must follow the rules. Before Ryan could argue further, there was a loud knock at the door. He jumped, his heart nearly leaping out of his chest. The aliens exchanged a quick glance but didn't seem surprised. Are you expecting someone? The taller one asked. Ryan shook his head. No, he whispered, climbing out of bed cautiously. He crept to the door and peeked through the peephole. A man in a dark suit stood outside, holding a briefcase. Behind him, a black car with tinted windows idled on the street. Ryan opened the door a crack. Can I help you? The man's face was expressionless. Ryan Carter, he asked in a clipped tone. Ryan hesitated before nodding. Yeah, that's me. The man opened the briefcase and pulled out a thick stack of papers. You have been selected to host intergalactic visitors as part of the Earth-Psi-Loren exchange program. This is a mandatory arrangement, and failure to comply will result in penalties under the Intergalactic Code of Conduct. Ryan's jaw dropped. You've got to be kidding me. The man handed him the papers. Please read and sign these forms. If you have any questions, contact the Office of Extraterrestrial Affairs. Before Ryan could respond, the man turned on his heel and walked back to the car. It sped off, leaving Ryan standing in the doorway with his mouth open and the stack of papers in his hands. He closed the door and turned back to the aliens, who were now inspecting the contents of his refrigerator. The furry one held up a jar of peanut butter, sniffing it curiously. This is unreal, Ryan muttered. He flipped through the forms, skimming phrases like mandatory compliance, cultural exchange program, and galactic cooperation. "Don't worry," the furry alien said, licking a spoonful of peanut butter. "We're very easy to live with. Just don't touch my food." Ryan let out a groan and dropped onto the couch. This has to be a bad dream. The tall alien sat beside him, its tail curling around the armrest. "We understand this may be difficult for you, but in time, you will see the benefits of our presence." Ryan buried his face in his hands. "Benefits? On sharing my house with aliens." The furry one grinned again. "Not just your house. Your bed too." Ryan shot up from the couch. "Absolutely not." The aliens exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Then the tall one said calmly, "We'll discuss sleeping arrangements later. For now, let's focus on integration." Ryan stared at them in disbelief. His quiet, normal life had just been turned upside down, and something told him this was only the beginning. House rules are alien concepts. Ryan woke up to chaos again. He shuffled into the kitchen, still groggy, only to find the furry alien, whom he had reluctantly learned was called Chopa, dangling upside down from the ceiling fan, giggling like a child on a carnival ride. The taller alien, Tarak, stood at the counter, methodically dissecting Ryan's toaster with precision tools that looked like they belonged in a sci-fi movie. "What are you doing?" Ryan shouted, his voice cracking. Choppa swung to a stop, her forearms clutching the fan blades. "Testing the centrifugal force of your primitive air circulation device. It's fun," she said, her voice dripping with excitement. Tarak didn't even glance up. "Your thermal bread heating machine was inefficient. I am upgrading it to toast evenly in 2.5 seconds. Ryan rubbed his temples. He wasn't even fully awake, and already his nerves were fried. "Okay, first of all, it's called a toaster. Second, stop taking apart my stuff. And third, Choppa, get down from there before you break the fan, or yourself." Choppa huffed but complied, flipping gracefully to the ground like a gymnast. "You humans are so fragile. You wouldn't last a minute on Xeralon." "Well, we're not on Xeralon," Ryan snapped, snatching his now ruined toaster from Tarak's claws. "We're on Earth, and there are rules here." Tarak finally looked at him, his glowing yellow eyes narrowing. "Rules. Yes, rules. Like, don't break my things, don't swing from the ceiling fan, and—" Ryan paused, pointing at the furry alien. "Choppa, what is that?" She was holding a jar of pickles. Only the pickles were glowing now. "It's glowing," she said matter-of-factly, popping one into her mouth. Tarak said these contain electrolytes. "I enhanced them." Ryan snatched the jar from her, horrified. "You enhanced my pickles." Choppa shrugged. "Your food lacks sufficient nutrients. We're helping." Ryan's brain short-circuited for a moment. He set the jar on the counter and took a deep breath. "No, no more enhancing anything. You eat food the way it is. You don't climb the furniture, and you definitely don't take apart my appliances. Got it?" Choppa and Tarak exchanged glances. "We'll try," Tarak said with a calm nod. Ryan's stomach sank. He didn't believe them for a second. Later that day, Ryan tried to reclaim some normalcy. He sat on the couch with a bowl of popcorn, hoping to lose himself in a movie. But peace wasn't in the cards. "Ryan," Tarak's voice called from the hallway, "your waste disposal system is inefficient." Ryan groaned and paused the movie. "It's a trash can, Tarak. It works fine." Tarak walked in, holding what looked like a glowing orb. "Not anymore. I've replaced it with a self-compacting molecular disintegration unit." Ryan's mouth fell open. "You did what?" Before Tarak could answer, there was a loud thump from the bathroom. Ryan bolted to the door and found Choppa standing in the shower, fully clothed, water spraying everywhere. "What are you doing now?" Ryan demanded, his voice rising. "Testing the water density for hydration compatibility," she replied, shaking droplets off her fur. It's a shower. You're supposed to take a bath, not run experiments. Chapa tilted her head. What's the difference? Ryan groaned and slumped against the doorframe. These aliens were going to drive him insane. By nightfall, Ryan was exhausted. He had spent hours explaining the concept of personal space, why they couldn't disassemble his vacuum cleaner to study suction, and why Chopa couldn't sleep in his bed. It's a clan tradition, Chapa argued, climbing into his bed like it was no big deal. Yeah, well, on Earth, humans don't share beds with strangers. Ryan shot back, pulling the blankets away from her. She pouted, her large eyes looking almost comically sad. But I'm not a stranger anymore. Ryan felt a pang of guilt but stood firm. No, I already gave you the guest room. Use it. Chapa grumbled but eventually left, dragging a pillow with her. Tarak, meanwhile, was silently studying the human anatomy chart he had found online. Ryan didn't dare ask why. As he finally sank into bed, he stared at the ceiling, his mind racing. How had his life gone from normal to whatever this was? He sighed, closing his eyes. Maybe tomorrow would be better. But deep down, he knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Agreement. Ryan sat at the kitchen table, staring at a steaming cup of coffee. Across from him, Tarak and Chapa were eating breakfast, or at least, what they thought was breakfast. Chopa had stacked peanut butter, pickles, and a toaster waffle into a towering sandwich, while Tarak meticulously studied the nutritional facts on a cereal box as if it were a classified government document. I've been thinking, Ryan began, breaking the awkward silence. Why me? Chapa paused mid-bite, pickle juice dripping onto the table. Why you? Ryan waved a hand vaguely. Why am I stuck with you two? Out of all the people on Earth, why did I get chosen as the host? Tarak's yellow eyes flickered with faint amusement. You were not chosen specifically. The selection process is random but weighted for geographical proximity and adaptability ratings. Adaptability ratings? Ryan asked, narrowing his eyes. What does that even mean? It means your species has certain traits we find intriguing. Tarak explained. Your ability to adapt to change, your emotional complexity, your resilience under pressure. Chapa grinned. Basically, you're fun to study. Ryan groaned and buried his face in his hands. I'm not a science experiment. Chapa tilted her head. Oh, you definitely are. But don't worry, it's for a good cause. Ryan was about to retort when the doorbell rang. His stomach sank. Last time someone had shown up unannounced, he ended up signing a pile of documents that changed his life forever. He cautiously opened the door to find the same government agent from before, holding another briefcase. Mr. Carter, the agent said in his usual monotone, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. Great, Ryan muttered, closing the door. What now? The agent set the briefcase on the table and opened it with a click. Inside was a glowing translucent tablet. The screen displayed an official-looking seal and a long block of text in alien script. Tarak immediately straightened, his expression serious. This, the agent began, gesturing to the tablet, is the Galactic Agreement your government signed 50 years ago. As your intergalactic roommates may have informed you, you are now part of a cultural exchange program designed to strengthen ties between Earth and its extraterrestrial neighbors. Ryan crossed his arms. Yeah, I got that part. What I don't get is why nobody told us about it. Isn't this the kind of thing you put on the news? The agent's expression didn't change. The information was classified to prevent public panic. However, all necessary legal channels were followed. Legal channels? Ryan threw up his hands. I didn't agree to this. Chopa, still munching on her bizarre sandwich, leaned over to inspect the tablet. He's getting worked up again. Is this normal for humans? Ryan shot her a glare. Yes, it's normal when your life gets hijacked by aliens. The agent ignored the outburst and continued. Your compliance is not optional, Mr. Carter. The treaty ensures mutual cooperation and cultural understanding between our worlds. This arrangement is vital for Earth's future. Vital how? Ryan asked, narrowing his eyes. What aren't you telling me? The agent hesitated for the briefest moment before responding. Earth is being evaluated for integration into the Galactic Union. Your interactions with these delegates will determine whether humanity is deemed ready. Ryan blinked, his anger momentarily replaced by disbelief. Wait, so you're saying the fate of the entire planet depends on me playing nice with these two? Precisely, the agent replied. Your behavior will reflect humanity's ability to cooperate with other species. Ryan let out a disbelieving laugh. You've got to be kidding me. Choppa grinned. No pressure, right? Ryan collapsed into a chair, his head spinning. This was too much. Aliens in his house were bad enough, but now the entire future of Earth was on his shoulders. He felt like the world's least qualified ambassador. The agent closed the briefcase and stood. Good luck, Mr. Carter. The Galactic Union is watching. Before Ryan could respond, the agent walked out, leaving the tablet on the table. Tarak picked it up, studying it with quiet intensity. What does it say? Ryan asked, his voice tinged with dread. Tarak's glowing eyes flicked up. It is a record of Earth's progress in interspecies diplomacy. Currently, your rating is suboptimal. Choppa laughed, spraying crumbs across the table. Suboptimal. That's a nice way of saying terrible. Ryan groaned. Great. So what happens if we fail this test? Tarak hesitated, his tail twitching. Failure would mean Earth is deemed unsuitable for integration. The consequences? Very. Ryan repeated, his voice rising. What does that mean? It means you should probably not fail, Tarak replied, unbothered. Ryan stared at the aliens, his heart pounding. This wasn't just about surviving a few weeks with them anymore. The stakes were higher than he'd ever imagined, and somehow he had to make it work. Strange bedfellows. Ryan wasn't sure what was worse, the fact that he had to live with aliens, or that he was starting to get used to it. By now, his morning routine had transformed into something out of a sitcom. He'd wake up to find Choppa perched on the fridge, munching on an entire loaf of bread, crust and all. Tarak, on the other hand, would be sitting cross-legged in the living room, disassembling another household appliance while humming a low alien tune. It was chaos, but it was his chaos. Today, however, was different. Ryan walked into the kitchen, rubbing sleep from his eyes, and froze. The table was set, plates, glasses, and even folded napkins. The smell of something sweet and unfamiliar filled the air. Choppa, wearing one of Ryan's oversized hoodies, was standing proudly next to a stack of bright blue pancakes. I made breakfast, she announced with a wide grin. Ryan blinked. You? Cooked. His mind instantly went to the smoke alarm incident from last week. It's edible, Tarak added, standing nearby with his arms crossed. We tested it. Ryan eyed the pancakes suspiciously. They shimmered slightly, like they were sprinkled with glitter. Tested it how? On your neighbor's cat, Choppa said matter-of-factly. It liked it. Ryan groaned. You can't just feed random animals glowing food. What did you even put in these? Choppa shrugged. Just some earth ingredients, and a pinch of Tyloran crystal dust for texture. Crystal dust, Ryan repeated, his voice rising. That doesn't sound edible. It's harmless in small quantities, Tarak said calmly. In fact, it's considered a delicacy on my planet. Ryan sighed and sat down, too tired to argue. You know what? Fine. Let's pretend this is normal now. Choppa's grin widened. See, I told you he'd come around. As the day wore on, Ryan tried to focus on work, but distractions were inevitable. Choppa had decided to reorganize the pantry, categorizing items based on what she called their vibrational energy. Meanwhile, Tarak had commandeered the garage for what he described as an experiment in localized gravity manipulation. Ryan was just settling into his laptop when a loud crash echoed from the garage. He bolted up and ran to investigate. "What now?" he groaned, throwing open the door. The garage looked like a sci-fi laboratory gone wrong. Tools floated mid-air, spinning in slow motion, while Tarak stood in the center, calmly observing a glowing sphere that seemed to be the source of the anomaly. "It's a controlled gravity field," Tarak explained as Ryan gawked. "Fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating." Ryan snapped. "You're going to tear my house apart." Tarak tilted his head. "Unlikely. The field is stable." Before Ryan could argue further, a wrench floated by and smacked into his forehead. He winced, rubbing the spot. "Stable, huh?" Choppa peeked into the garage, munching on an apple. "Cool. Can I try?" "No," Ryan and Tarak said in unison. By the time evening rolled around, Ryan was drained. He collapsed onto the couch, hoping for a moment of peace. Choppa plopped down beside him, far too close for comfort. "You're tense," she said, poking his shoulder. "Want me to show you Xyloran meditation techniques?" Ryan sighed. "I just want to relax. Alone." Choppa ignored him and stretched out, her furry arm brushing against his. "Humans are so weird about personal space. On Xeralon, we all sleep in piles." "Well, this isn't Xeralon," Ryan muttered. "And we don't do piles." Tarak walked in, carrying a tablet covered in alien script. "I've completed today's observation report. Your emotional volatility remains consistent." "Thanks," Ryan said sarcastically. "Glad to know I'm entertaining." Choppa yawned, her sharp teeth glinting. "It's not just entertaining. You're interesting. Humans are full of contradictions." "Great," Ryan said, slumping further into the couch. "I'm a walking paradox. Can I get a break now?" Choppa grinned. "You're already on one." Thrak's tail swished as he sat across from them, his glowing eyes narrowing. "Your resilience is notable, Ryan. Few species could endure this level of disruption without significant breakdowns." Ryan looked at him incredulously. "Is that supposed to be a compliment?" "Take it however you like," Tarak replied with a small shrug. Ryan let out a tired laugh. "You know what? Fine. Compliment accepted. But if you two could just try not to blow up the house tomorrow, that'd be great." "No promises," Choppa said, flashing a mischievous smile. Ryan sighed and leaned back. As exhausting as they were, he couldn't deny that life was a lot less boring with his alien roommates. Maybe, just maybe, they weren't the worst thing to happen to him. Not yet, anyway. The hidden agenda. Rand didn't mean to snoop. He really didn't. But when you live with two aliens who consistently break the laws of physics, curiosity has a way of sneaking up on you. It started with Tarak's late-night sessions in the guest room. Every evening after dinner, the tall, scaly alien would retreat into the room, close the door, and lock it. The faint hum of alien technology would follow, and sometimes strange flickers of light escaped through the cracks. Ryan wasn't nosy. At least not at first. But after a week of this, he couldn't help himself. Tonight, he crept down the hallway, barefoot to muffle his steps. Choppa was asleep on the couch, snoring softly, a half-eaten bag of chips in her lap. Ryan paused outside the guest room door, straining to hear what was going on inside. The hum was louder tonight, like a generator powering up. Suddenly, a sharp beep cut through the air, and the door cracked open just a sliver. Ryan froze. Through the gap, he could see Tarak, seated at a sleek console covered in glowing symbols. He was speaking rapidly in an alien language, his voice low but intense. On the screen, a map of Earth flickered, dotted with red and yellow markers. Ryan's stomach twisted. "Is he spying on us?" Ryan whispered to himself. Before he could step away, the door swung open. Tarak stood there, his glowing yellow eyes narrowing. "Eavesdropping, Ryan." Ryan stammered, his mind racing for an excuse. I was just checking if you needed anything." You know, like a drink or something. Tarak tilted his head, his expression unreadable. Lying does not suit you. Ryan swallowed hard. Okay, fine. What are you doing in there? And don't give me the cultural exchange excuse. That doesn't explain maps of Earth with whatever those markers are. Tarak's tail flicked behind him. For a moment, Ryan thought he wouldn't answer. Then, with a sigh, Tarak stepped aside. You might as well see for yourself. Cautiously, Ryan entered the room. The console was even more intimidating up close, its symbols shifting and rearranging themselves like living organisms. The map of Earth remained on the screen, the red markers pulsing faintly. What is this? Ryan asked, pointing at the map. Tarak hesitated. A network, monitoring signals from Earth and beyond. Monitoring for what? Ryan pressed. Tarak's eyes flicked to the screen. For them. Ryan frowned. Them? Who's them? Before Tarak could respond, Choppa's voice rang out from the hallway. What are you guys doing in there? Secret club meeting. Ryan and Tarak both turned to see Choppa leaning against the doorframe, munching on another bag of chips. Her fur was ruffled, and she looked half asleep, but her sharp eyes darted between them suspiciously. Ryan was curious. Tarak said calmly. I was explaining. Explaining what? Choppa asked, stepping inside and peering at the console. Her expression shifted instantly. Oh, you showed him that. Ryan looked between them. Okay, seriously, someone explain. What's going on? What are you two hiding? Choppa sighed and plopped into a chair. Fine. Might as well tell him. He's going to find out eventually. Tarak crossed his arms. This is not a matter to take lightly. Ryan's frustration boiled over. I live here, remember. If this is some kind of alien conspiracy, I deserve to know. Tarak nodded slowly. Very well. This device monitors interstellar communications and energy signatures. Those red markers, he gestured to the screen. They indicate areas of potential infiltration. Infiltration. Ryan's heart raced. By who? Choppa's playful demeanor faded. By the ones who don't want Earth in the Galactic Union. Ryan's head spun. Wait, there are aliens out there trying to stop Earth from joining. Why? Tarak's voice was calm but heavy. Earth's inclusion would shift the balance of power. Some species view humanity as a threat to their dominance. They will do whatever is necessary to prevent your integration. Ryan stared at the map, the pulsing red markers suddenly feeling far more ominous. So, what? They're spying on us. Sabotaging us. Both, Tarak confirmed. And worse. Choppa nodded, her usual grin replaced with a grim frown. That's why we're here, Ryan. We're not just your roommates. We're your protection detail. Ryan's knees went weak. He stumbled back into a chair. Protection detail. From alien assassins. Essentially, yes, Tarak said, his tone as matter of fact, as if he were discussing the weather. Ryan buried his face in his hands. You've got to be kidding me. My life was normal 2 weeks ago. Now I'm apparently the target of an intergalactic conspiracy. Choppa reached out and patted his shoulder awkwardly. Hey, don't worry. You've got us. We're great at this kind of stuff. Ryan peeked through his fingers at her. That doesn't make me feel better. Tarak turned back to the console, his tail swishing. Whether you feel better is irrelevant. The threat remains. You must be prepared. Ryan groaned. Prepared for what? Tarak's glowing eyes met his. For them to come. The galactic threat. The knock came at exactly 3:17 a.m. Ryan bolted upright in bed, his heart pounding. The house was eerily silent except for the faint hum of Tarak's alien console from the guest room. He glanced at his phone. Who on Earth, or beyond, would show up at this hour? The knock came again, louder this time. 3 sharp raps that echoed through the quiet house. Ryan slipped out of bed and tiptoed toward the front door, grabbing a baseball bat on the way. Peeking through the peephole, He saw nothing. No car in the driveway, no figure on the porch, just the empty street bathed in the pale glow of a flickering streetlight. "Ryan!" Tarak's voice called from behind him, startling him so badly he almost dropped the bat. "Tarak, don't sneak up on me like that," Ryan hissed, spinning around. Tarak's glowing yellow eyes narrowed. "The knocking. What is it?" "I don't know. No one's out there," Ryan whispered. "But it's creepy as hell." Before Tarak could respond, the knocking turned into a deafening bang. The entire door shook on its hinges. Ryan stumbled back, his heart threatening to leap out of his chest. Chapa appeared from the hallway, rubbing her eyes and holding an open bag of popcorn. "What's going on? Is it another human delivery thing? You guys get so many packages." Ryan shot her an incredulous look. "Do delivery guys usually try to break down the door at 3 in the morning?" Chapa shrugged. "Depends on how good the tip is." Another bang echoed, louder this time. Tarak stepped forward, his tall frame casting a long shadow in the dimly lit room. "This is not a human. Stay back." Ryan didn't need to be told twice. He retreated, gripping the bat tightly, as Tarak placed a clawed hand on the door. "Wait," Ryan whispered. "What are you doing?" "Assessing the threat," Tarak said calmly. Before Ryan could protest, Tarak yanked the door open. The sudden gust of cold air made Ryan shiver. At first, there was nothing, just the empty porch and the flickering streetlight. Then they heard it. A low, guttural growl that made the hairs on Ryan's neck stand on end. Shadows shifted at the edge of the driveway, and a figure stepped into view. It was massive, easily 8 feet tall, with spiked armor that glinted under the streetlight. Its face was hidden behind a helmet, but its glowing red eyes burned with menace. In its clawed hand, it held a weapon that looked like a cross between a battle axe and an energy cannon. Tarak," Ryan whispered, his voice shaking. "Who or what is that?" Tarak's tail flicked, his stance rigid. "An enforcer, sent by those who wish to keep Earth from joining the Galactic Union." Chapa popped another piece of popcorn into her mouth. "Well, this just got interesting." The enforcer stepped closer, its footsteps heavy enough to rattle the windows. It stopped at the edge of the porch and pointed its weapon at Tarak. "Step aside, Silaran," it said in a deep mechanical voice. "Our business is with the human." Ryan's blood ran cold. "Me? Why me?" "You are the variable," the enforcer growled. "Eliminate the variable, and Earth will fail its evaluation." "Over my dismembered limbs," Tarak hissed, stepping forward. His claws flexed, and his tail coiled like a whip. Ryan's panic spiked. "Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're not doing this here. Can't we? Negotiate or something." "Negotiation is futile," the enforcer said, raising its weapon. Without warning, Tarak lunged. His movements were blindingly fast, his claws slicing through the air as he tackled the enforcer off the porch. The two of them crashed into the front yard, the ground trembling beneath their weight. Ryan stood frozen in the doorway, gripping the bat like it was the only thing keeping him upright. "What the hell is happening?" "Classic intergalactic showdown," Chapa said casually, tossing the popcorn aside. "Come on, Ryan. If you stay here, you'll get vaporized." "Vaporize?" Ryan's voice cracked. Chapa grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the garage. "Relax. We've got backup plans for this kind of thing." Ryan stumbled after her, his mind racing. "Backup plans? This kind of thing happens often." "Define often," Chapa said with a grin. Behind them, the sounds of battle grew louder, metal clashing, energy crackling, and Tarak's guttural growls echoing into the night. As they reached the garage, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. Chapa pressed a button on a small device she pulled from her pocket. A hidden panel in the garage wall slid open, revealing an array of alien weapons and gadgets. She tossed Ryan a strange-looking device that resembled a high-tech slingshot. "What am I supposed to do with this?" he asked, holding it up. Point and shoot, Choppa said, grabbing a glowing staff for herself. And maybe try not to scream too much. Ryan stared at her. This is insane. Choppa smirked. Welcome to life with aliens. Before Ryan could argue, another deafening crash shook the house. The Enforcer wasn't going to wait for them to figure things out. The battle for Earth's future had officially begun. Humanity's last stand. Ryan crouched behind the wreckage of what used to be his neighbor's garden shed, clutching an alien plasma pistol he barely knew how to use. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burnt grass and ozone. Above him, the night sky was alive with flashing lights, spaceships dueling in the heavens, their beams streaking through the clouds like celestial fireworks. This is insane, he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. This is actually insane. Beside him, Choppa grinned, her fur singed at the edges, but her energy undiminished. Admit it, though, it's kind of fun. Fun. Ryan snapped. We're literally fighting for the survival of Earth, and you think this is fun? A loud explosion cut him off, and both of them ducked as debris rained down. Across the yard, Tarak stood his ground, his glowing yellow eyes locked on the hulking alien Enforcer they'd been battling all night. The Enforcer's armor was cracked, and one of its weapons sparked uselessly, but it wasn't backing down. If anything, it looked angrier. You will not stop us, Siloran, the Enforcer growled, its deep voice reverberating through the air. Earth's place in the Galactic Union is a threat to the order of the universe. Tarak's tail flicked, his claws gleaming in the dim light. The only threat here is your arrogance. Stand down, or I will end this. The Enforcer laughed, a harsh, mechanical sound. You are outnumbered and outmatched. Surrender the human, and perhaps I'll make your demise quick. Ryan peeked over the edge of the debris and waved his hands frantically. Hey, don't offer me up as a bargaining chip. Choppa grabbed his arm and yanked him back down. Relax, Ryan. Tarak's just playing the intimidation game. It's all part of the plan. Plan? What plan? Ryan hissed. The let's all get vaporized together plan. Choppa smirked. Nah. The humans are more resourceful than anyone gives them credit for plan. That's where you come in. Me? Ryan's voice cracked. I'm just a guy with a toaster that doesn't even work anymore. Choppa ignored his panic and handed him a small spherical device. It pulsed faintly, its surface covered in alien symbols that glowed in sync with her movements. This is a destabilizer, she explained. Get it close enough to the Enforcer, and it'll shut down their armor. After that, Tarak can finish the job. Ryan stared at the device like it was a live grenade. You want me to get close to that thing? Are you out of your mind? Choppa shrugged. It's either that or Earth gets wiped off the map. No pressure. Another explosion rocked the ground, and Ryan's grip on the sphere tightened. He looked at Choppa, then at Tarak, who was locked in a fierce battle with the Enforcer. The towering alien had managed to land a few hits, but the Enforcer was relentless, its blows shaking the very ground. Ryan took a deep breath. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done. Choppa grinned. Welcome to heroism. As Ryan crept closer to the Enforcer, his heart pounded like a drum. The alien loomed larger with every step, its glowing red eyes scanning for any signs of weakness. Tarak caught sight of Ryan and subtly shifted his position, drawing the Enforcer's attention away. You fight well. Siloran, the Enforcer snarled, swinging its massive weapon. But you cannot protect them all. Tarak deflected the blow with his claws, his movements precise and calculated. We'll see about that. Ryan reached the edge of the battlefield, crouching low in the tall grass. His hands were slick with sweat, the destabilizer feeling heavier with every second. He waited for the right moment, praying there would be a right moment. Choppa's voice crackled in his earpiece. Now, Ryan. Go. Before his fear could paralyze him, Ryan sprang forward. He darted between the Enforcer's legs, narrowly avoiding a swipe of its weapon. The alien roared, spinning to face him, But Ryan was faster. He slammed the destabilizer against the Enforcer's back and pressed the activation button. The sphere lit up with a brilliant blue light, sending arcs of energy cascading across the Enforcer's armor. Sparks flew, and the alien staggered, its weapon dropping to the ground. "What have you done?" The Enforcer growled, its voice distorted. Ryan scrambled away, tripping over his own feet. I think I just won the most reckless human award." Tarak didn't waste a second. With a swift, powerful strike, he tore through the Enforcer's exposed circuits, sending it crashing to the ground in a heap of sparking metal. Choppa whooped from the sidelines. "That's what I'm talking about." Ryan collapsed onto the grass, panting. "I can't believe I just did that." Tarak approached, his expression unreadable. "You did well, Ryan." Ryan blinked up at him. Did you just give me a compliment?" Tarak's tail swished. "Don't get used to it." As the dust settled, the three of them stood together, staring at the wreckage. Above them, the enemy ships retreated, their commanders realizing the battle was lost. The sky slowly cleared, revealing the first light of dawn. Ryan looked at his alien roommates and let out a shaky laugh. "So, does this mean Earth passed the test?" Choppa grinned. "Let's just say you're officially not boring anymore." Tarak nodded, his glowing eyes softening. "Earth has proven its potential. For now, the Galactic Union will take notice." Ryan shook his head, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Great, can we just not do this again for a while?" Choppa laughed, slinging an arm around his shoulder. "No promises." And for the first time in weeks, Ryan didn't mind.